What is that nasty smell? Seriously, what is that? Fried chicken. Ms. Karen Whitfield jerks back theatrically, fingers clamped over her nose. She looms over 14-year-old Malik Johnson like a judge over a defendant. This is a school cafeteria, not some street corner. Where do you people think you are? A few white kids snort, barely hiding their laughter. One of them mutters, loud enough to travel, "Ghetto lunch." Malik's voice shakes. "I'm sorry, Ms. Whitfield. I made it for my dad." "Your father?" She pinches the edge of his tray like it's contaminated. "Well, your father can eat junk food at home, not here." Across the room, black students freeze mid-bite, heads lowered, everything suddenly quiet. Whitfield dumps it all out. His mother's old plastic container smacks the metal can. Exing. "Maybe next time you'll bring real food like normal students." Malik sits absolutely still, staring as his 3 hours of careful work sink into the trash. Have you ever felt completely unseen while everyone stares at you falling apart? Malik Johnson lives in a small 2-bedroom apartment 4 blocks from Riverside Heights Middle. Morning light slips through thin curtains, brushing across family pictures taped and framed on every wall. His grandmother, Gloria Johnson, has raised him the past 3 years, ever since cancer took his mother, Renee, and since his father shipped out with the Army. Major Anthony Johnson, stationed at Fort Lincoln near Washington, D.C., 8 months deployed in Afghanistan, coming home this Friday. Malik counts down days on his Captain America calendar. 4 more sleeps till Dad steps through that door. Today started different. Malik woke at 5:30, crept quietly to the kitchen while Grandma Gloria still snored softly. He pulled out his mother's recipe tin, her handwriting slanting across yellowed index cards. Fried chicken, baked mac and cheese, collard greens, peach cobbler stained with grease. Every Sunday before she got sick, Mom taught him how to cook, her hands resting over his, her voice gentle but firm. "Food is love you can taste, baby. Don't you ever forget it." Last night, Malik stayed up until 10, prepping today's lunch, his first solo menu, a surprise for when Dad returned. Proof he was maturing, responsible, that he remembered every lesson. The retro Tupperware container was hers too, faded teal with tiny white flowers. She used it at every barbecue, every family reunion. Malik carried it to school like it was glass, like it contained something sacred. Riverside Heights Middle sits in a revitalizing D.C. neighborhood, gentrifier's favorite word. 70% students of color, 85% white teachers. The math doesn't work, but no one asks. The building looks impressive. Fresh paint, polished floors, new Chromebooks in every classroom. A big banner outside shouts, "Achievement through Unity." But something changed 3 months ago when Ms. Karen Whitfield was promoted to chair the School Standards Committee. Whitfield has taught English for 15 years. She's 52, lives in Georgetown, drives a shiny luxury SUV, and drinks $6 lattes. Parents adore her because their kids get into competitive high schools. Teachers defer to her because she's been around forever. Her shiny new project, Cultural Cohesion in Education. The email sent home talked about unified school culture, maintaining professional environments. It listed dress guidelines, communication standards, behavior expectations. What it didn't spell out was the pattern that started immediately afterwards. Nia Jackson, 8th grade, had her silk bonnet confiscated in September. Whitfield called it inappropriate bedtime attire. Nia wore it to protect her braids. Her mother came in furious. Principal Dr. Linda Mercer brushed it off. 2 weeks later, Jamal Davis got detention for wearing a durag. Whitfield wrote him up for gang-related clothing. His father, who drives a metro bus, stormed in. Mercer backed Whitfield completely. In October, Diego Morales arrived with his abuela's homemade tamales. Whitfield intercepted him in the lunch line, wrinkled her nose, announced the smell was too ethnic, and forced him to toss them. Diego's mom called, voice shaking with anger. Mercer answered politely and said teachers had professional discretion. Nothing changed. Diego stopped bringing food from home after that. 2 weeks later, Tiana Thomas brought her mother's jollof rice. Whitfield made her dump it, claiming it created unfair food environments for other students. Tiana sobbed in the bathroom for nearly an hour. Last month, Arjun Patel's mom sent curry. Same script. Whitfield insisted the strong odor disrupted learning, But here's what never made it into any official report or email trail. White kids came in with leftover lasagna, Greek gyros, Irish stew in leaky containers. Never questioned, never stopped, never thrown away. The pattern glowed like neon for students, blindingly obvious. But their families' complaints kept hitting the same brick wall. 7 formal grievances in 3 months, every single one dismissed by Principal Mercer. Mercer is 63, white, 20 years wearing the administrator badge. She built her brand on trusting teacher expertise and supporting professional autonomy. Translation: she doesn't challenge white veterans like Whitfield. This morning, Malik showed up early. He carefully slid his container into the cafeteria fridge, tucking it behind milk cartons so it would stay cold. His grin wouldn't stay down. His best friend, Jason Park, noticed instantly from across the breakfast line. Jason is Korean-American, loves basketball, and worships Grandma Gloria's cooking. "Yo, is that your grandma's famous fried chicken?" Jason sticks his head into the fridge. "Actually," Malik says, chest rising with pride, "I made it. First time all by myself." "Get out of here! Your dad's gonna lose his mind." That's the point. He comes home Friday. I've been running practice rounds for weeks. Other kids drift over, curiosity pulling them. The cafeteria workers smile. Everyone knows Malik as the quiet honors kid who never causes drama. "Man, that smells incredible already," says Terrence, another black student. "Your mom's recipes, right?" Malik nods, throat tightening. "Yeah, her recipes." 3 tables away, Ms. Whitfield stands monitoring breakfast with another teacher, Mrs. Blake, but she's really watching Malik. Her gaze tracks the crowd around him, the way he cradles the container like treasure. Her nose wrinkles slightly. She leans toward Mrs. Blake. Her voice isn't low at all. "Some of these families just don't understand what's appropriate in a school setting." Mrs. Blake shifts uncomfortably, but says nothing. The rest of the morning rolls by like any other. Malik nails his history quiz. In robotics club, he finishes programming his team's competition bot. Coach Rivera claps him on the shoulder, calls his code clean and brilliant. But third period English in Whitfield's classroom feels different. Like there's static humming somewhere. She assigns an essay. What does respect mean in our community? While everyone brainstorms, Whitfield strolls between desks slowly. She stops at Malik's table, just stands there, hovering until he looks up. "Malik, I hope you are taking this assignment seriously. Respect is understanding boundaries, knowing what's acceptable." Her smile doesn't reach her eyes. Some people need to learn that more than others. Malik doesn't fully get what she means. He nods anyway, forcing his gaze back to the blank page. At 12:47 p.m., lunch starts. Malik retrieves his container from the fridge. It's still chilled, exactly like he planned. He heads to his usual table near the windows. Jason slides into the seat across from him. Nia and Terrence join them. Malik pops the lid. The scent rises immediately. Warm, seasoned, familiar, like evenings in his mother's kitchen before hospitals and IVs. Pride surges through him. "Dude, I need a piece," Jason says, already reaching. "After I show my dad first," Malik laughs. "Then I'll run a whole batch for everyone." Conversations roar around them. 200 kids talking, laughing, yelling across tables, trays clattering, ordinary chaos. Malik lifts his fork. That's when he notices sound draining from the room, like someone turned a dial. Heads angle toward his table, one by one. Ms. Whitfield strides across the cafeteria floor, each heel strike deliberate, echoing. Her eyes lock on Malik's tray like a target. She doesn't stop until she's looming right over him, her shadow covering his food. Jason's fork hangs midair. Nia's lips part. She recognizes the look. She's seen this play before. She already knows the ending. Malik tilts his face upward, sees the disgust carved into Whitfield's features, the contempt she doesn't bother to hide. His stomach flips. "Malik Johnson," Whitfield announces, projecting her voice. "What exactly is that?" Malik's answer comes out smaller than he practiced. "It's my lunch, Ms. Whitfield. I cooked it myself." "You cooked it?" Like it's incriminating. "And did you receive permission to bring this type of food here?" "Permission?" Malik blinks. "It's just lunch, like everybody else's." "Not like everyone else's." Her finger points at the plate. This is precisely what our policy addresses. This smell. This spectacle. Phones appear under tables. Kids sense drama. Jason speaks up. Lots of us bring food from home, you know. Mr. Park, this isn't about you. She snaps without looking his way. Her gaze stays locked on Malik. He tries again. My dad gets back Friday from deployment. I wanted to surprise him. I'm not concerned about your home life. Whitfield snatches the tray. Malik's hand shoots out. Please, that's my mom's container. But Whitfield's already turning toward the giant gray trash bin. Her heels slam the tile. 10 slow steps. Every eye is on her. Ms. Whitfield, please! Malik stands, voice cracking. My mom passed away. That container belonged to her. The wet crash of chicken and macaroni hitting old garbage cuts him off. Whitfield dusts off her hands like she's touched something grimy, then drops the empty container back on his table. Maybe tomorrow you'll bring something appropriate, something that actually fits here. She spins toward the room. Let this be a lesson about standards. She marches away, posture rigid with certainty. Malik stands frozen, clutching the scratched container. 3 hours of effort, his first real solo meal, decomposing in a trash bag. Jason leaps up. That's wrong. He didn't break any rules. Nia slides beside Malik. She did it again. 3rd time this month. Other black students drift closer, fear and anger tangled on their faces. Terrence speaks up. She tossed my sister Tiana's jollof rice 2 weeks ago. Diego's tamales last month, someone else adds, called them too ethnic. Arjun's curry, same thing. Jason lifts his phone. I recorded everything. This is discrimination, man. Malik barely hears them. He traces a tiny crack along the container's corner with his thumb. That crack existed when Mom was alive. Grandma trusted me with this. I promised I'd keep it safe. The bell rings. Students shuffle out slower than usual. Some look sympathetic. Some look relieved it wasn't them. The white kids who laughed earlier suddenly avoid Malik's eyes. He doesn't move until Jason taps his shoulder. We have to tell somebody. They head straight for Principal Mercer's office. Malik clutches the empty container to his chest. The receptionist peeks up from her computer. Boys, lunch period's over. You should be in class. We need to see Dr. Mercer, Jason says, words tumbling. Ms. Whitfield trashed Malik's lunch and humiliated him. The receptionist's face softens into practiced pity. Dr. Mercer's in a meeting. You'll have to wait. They sit in plastic chairs. 5th period starts. They're late. 6 minutes, 10, 20, 40. Finally, the office door opens. Dr. Mercer appears, glasses dangling from a chain, clearly annoyed. Yes? What is this about? Malik rises, offering the container like evidence. Ms. Whitfield threw away my lunch. She said it wasn't appropriate, but other students bring food from home. Ms. Whitfield was enforcing school policy, Malik. What policy? Jason demands. Can you show us the written rule? Young man, I do not appreciate your tone. Mercer snaps. Ms. Whitfield has 15 years of experience. I trust her professional judgment. Malik's desperation tightens. She threw away my mom's container. My mom died 3 years ago. She had no right. I understand losing a parent is difficult, Mercer says, voice briefly softening but not changing direction. However, we cannot encourage students to challenge teacher authority. Ms. Whitfield made a professional call. A racist call, Jason mumbles. Mercer stiffens. That's a serious accusation. Do you have proof? Malik thinks of every incident, every student of color, every confiscated bonnet and discarded meal. No paperwork, just memories and whispered stories. Other students told me, he says. Hearsay is not evidence, Mercer replies, already glancing at her watch. You're both late now. This discussion is finished. The door shuts behind them. Jason pulls out his phone again. I have the whole video, every word. What good is a video? Malik mutters. We'll see, Jason answers. 6th period English, Whitfield assigns another essay. What does respect mean in our community? She stares directly at Malik as she speaks. After class, she blocks the doorway. Malik, I hope you learned something today about proper conduct. Malik's voice is quiet. I learned something about you. Her smile drops. Excuse me. Nothing, Ms. Whitfield. He slips around her. Outside, Jason is already typing furiously, thumbs flying. The video hits the school group chat first, then spreads outward to cousins, neighboring schools, random kids. Malik texts his grandma, "Grandma, can you call Dad? I really need to talk to him." Her reply comes almost immediately. "Baby, he's on a mission. He'll be home Friday. What's wrong?" Malik stares at the screen, fingers hovering. He types back, "Nothing. I'm fine." But his face says he's not fine at all. Thursday morning, Malik wakes to his grandmother's voice in the kitchen, tight and worried. He shuffles to the doorway quietly, heart already bracing for bad news. Gloria sits at the table with her old laptop open, one hand covering her mouth. "Grandma, what happened?" he asks. She looks up at him, eyes ringed with exhaustion. "Baby, the school sent an email. They want a meeting today at 3. Malik's stomach twists. "A meeting about what?" Gloria turns the screen. The subject line reads, "Student conduct discussion required." Malik Johnson. The message comes from Ms. Whitfield, copied to Principal Mercer and the school counselor. Malik reads over his grandmother's shoulder, certain phrases leaping out. Disruptive behavior, defiance, refusal to respect standards created a hostile environment in the cafeteria. "They're saying I caused the problem." His voice climbs higher. "She trashed my food." Gloria's jaw clenches. "We're going. We're clearing this up," she says, though the tremor in her tone betrays her doubt. Malik dresses for school in heavy silence. His backpack feels like bricks. Everything feels heavier. By first period, the video has 1,500 views. A few kids Malik barely knows approach him between classes. "Yo, that was messed up. My cousin had Whitfield too. She always targets black kids. You should report her." Others give Malik a wide berth, especially the white kids who laughed in the cafeteria. Now they look at him like he's radioactive, like he brought all this attention on himself. During second period history, Mr. Lewis, his teacher, asks him to stay after class. Mr. Lewis is black, early 40s, intense and funny. Students actually like his lectures. "Malik, I saw that video." Lewis says quietly, "What happened to you wasn't right." A flicker of hope lights in Malik's chest. "Can you help? Can you tell the principal?" Lewis looks torn. "I'm non-tenured. Whitfield has Mercer's ear. If I make noise, I might not be here next year." The hope fades, so nobody can do anything. I didn't say that," Lewis replies. He pulls a small notebook from his desk drawer and presses it into Malik's hands. "Document everything. Every comment, every date, every student's name, what was said. Details matter." Malik flips it open. "Thank you," he whispers. "Your mother was a fighter," Lewis says quietly. "I worked with her at Roosevelt High before she got sick. She never walked away from injustice. Neither should you." The words settle inside Malik like warm stones. At lunch, he sits again with Jason, Nia, and Terrence. None of them brought food from home today. They all picked up the limp cafeteria pizza instead. Malik opens the notebook and starts scribbling. "What are you writing?" Nia asks, leaning over. "Building a case," Malik answers. His pen moves like it's racing a clock. September 15th, Whitfield took Nia Jackson's bonnet, called it inappropriate sleepwear. Nia nods slowly. "My mom complained 3 times. Nothing changed." September 28th, Arjun Patel's curry. Whitfield claimed strong odors disrupted learning. Malik glances at Terrence. "Your sister Tiana, right?" October 10th, jollof rice. Made her dump it. Terrence leans closer. "She cried for hours. My mom left messages. No call back." Malik keeps writing. October 3rd, Diego Morales tamales. Labeled too ethnic. November 6th, me. Jason watches the page fill. That's 5 incidents in 2 months. All kids of color. But white kids' food. Malik taps the notebook. Nobody says jack about Emma's lasagna or Connor's gyros or Liam's Irish stew. The pattern is undeniable in ink. Nia exhales. This is proof. Real proof. Malik feels something shift again. Not hope exactly, but purpose. The afternoon crawls. In English, Whitfield acts sugary sweet, almost theatrical. "Malik, I trust you're reflecting on yesterday's lesson about respect and boundaries." Her voice oozes concern. "Some students require extra guidance." She hands him extra homework. Only him. 3 additional questions about personal responsibility and accepting constructive criticism. After school, Malik and Gloria walk to the administrative wing. Gloria wears her church outfit, sensible heels, the necklace she only pulls out for serious occasions. It feels like heading into a courtroom. They arrive at 2:55, 5 minutes early. The receptionist guides them to a conference room with fluorescent lights. Principal Mercer sits at the head of the table. Ms. Whitfield is on her right, arms folded neatly, and the school counselor, Ms. Foster, sits on her left. 3 adults facing 2 family members. The power difference hums in the air. "Thank you for coming, Ms. Johnson," Mercer begins, voice neutral. "We want to address some recent concerns about Malik's behavior." "Behavior concerns?" Gloria keeps her tone measured. "My grandson tells me Ms. Whitfield threw out his lunch and embarrassed him in front of the whole cafeteria." Whitfield jumps in quickly. "With respect, that's not accurate. I was enforcing our cultural cohesion initiative." "Where is that written down?" Gloria cuts in. "Show me the page in the handbook, please." Mercer shifts in her chair. "It's part of our professional judgment framework. Teachers have discretion." "Discretion to target my grandson." Gloria's voice sharpens. "To toss food he spent hours cooking in his dead mama's container?" The room goes still. Whitfield recovers first, sliding a folder across the table. "Ms. Johnson, I've documented several troubling behaviors from Malik," she says crisply. Gloria picks up the papers. Emails Whitfield sent to herself, all conveniently dated this week. November 6th, 3:15 p.m. Malik made inappropriate remarks after class. Direct quote, "I learned something about you," delivered in a threatening tone. Malik speaks up. "I wasn't threatening anyone. I just meant—" "Young man, the adults are talking," Mercer cuts in. Gloria squeezes Malik's fingers under the table. Whitfield continues. November 6th, 12:50 p.m. Malik caused a disruption in the cafeteria by bringing non-compliant lunch items and arguing when corrected. "He's a 14-year-old eating food his grandmother taught him to cook." Gloria fires back. "How is that non-compliant?" "Our initiative addresses foods that create uncomfortable environments," Whitfield replies smoothly. "Uncomfortable for who exactly?" Gloria leans forward. "Uncomfortable for who? Because my grandson's fried chicken makes white students uncomfortable." The word lands heavy. "White." The thing no one wanted to say. Mercer interjects. "Ms. Johnson, let's not turn this into a racial issue." "It is a racial issue," Gloria says firmly. She pulls out her phone and opens Jason's video. "Watch this. Listen to how your teacher talks to my grandson." They fall silent as the clip plays. Whitfield's voice comes through clearly. "This is a school cafeteria, not the hood." Ms. Foster shifts in her seat, eyes troubled. She hasn't spoken until now. Mercer barely flinches. "Ms. Whitfield, your phrasing may have been unfortunate," she says carefully. "But the core concern remains. Malik needs to accept boundaries." Whitfield nods eagerly. "Exactly. This is about a student who resists correction, who makes insubordinate comments, who disrupts learning spaces." Gloria studies both of them and sees the wall, an institution protecting itself. "So what exactly are you planning to do?" she asks, voice low. "Dangerous." Mercer slides another document across the table. Official letterhead, black ink. 3-day suspension starting tomorrow, Friday through Tuesday. Malik may return Wednesday with a clean slate. Malik's heart slams. "Suspension? Tomorrow's when my dad comes home after 8 months deployed. You're suspending me the day he lands?" No one answers him directly. Whitfield speaks instead. "Malik, sometimes consequences teach essential lessons. Respect, following rules, learning to fit in." Fit in. The phrase burns. Gloria scans the notice, hands trembling. Friday, the day Anthony touches down at Reagan, the day they were supposed to celebrate, eat home-cooked food, laugh. Now Malik will sit at home branded as a troublemaker, punished for being on the receiving end. "This is wrong," Gloria says, voice cracking. "You both know this is wrong." Mercer doesn't blink. "Ms. Johnson, we can extend this suspension if necessary." 5 days, maybe a full week. The decision is yours. The threat hangs between them. Comply quietly, or it gets worse. Gloria looks at Malik and sees everything in his face shifting. The trust, the belief that adults will do the right thing. She signs. Her pen scratches like surrender. They leave in silence, down the hall, past after-school clubs and laughter. They pass the cafeteria, now scrubbed and silent, like nothing happened. Outside, November air slices cold. Malik finally speaks. "Grandma, I'm sorry. I made all this mess." "No." Gloria stops, turning to him. Her eyes shine. "No, baby, you didn't do anything wrong. Nothing, you hear me?" But Malik doesn't feel innocent. It feels like existing as himself was the offense. That night, Gloria sits alone at the kitchen table after Malik goes to bed. She stares at her phone, at Anthony's contact glowing on the screen. She should call, tell him everything, let him handle it. But he's still overseas, last mission before coming home. She doesn't want to shake his focus or add extra weight to his shoulders. She sets the phone down. In his room, Malik lies awake, watching shadows move across the ceiling. Tomorrow he was supposed to show Dad the lunch he'd made, prove he remembered Mom's recipes, prove he was stepping up. Instead, he'll explain that he got suspended for bringing fried chicken to school. His phone buzzes. Jason again. "Dude, the video's at 15,000 views. Someone tossed it on TikTok. It's going crazy." Malik types, "So what? I'm still suspended." Jason replies, "Just wait. This isn't over." But to Malik, it feels finished already. Feels like Whitfield won. Like the system swallowed him whole. He pulls out the challenge coin his father gave him, runs his thumb over the engraving. Integrity first. Service before self. Dad built his whole life on those words, risking everything overseas for ideals carved in metal. Malik just tried to live by them at school and got slapped down. Sleep comes late, thin and restless. Friday morning, 6:47 a.m., Gloria's phone rings. Unknown number. She answers, voice groggy. "Mom!" Anthony's voice cuts through. Her eyes fly open. "Baby, where are you?" "I'm stateside, landing at Reagan in 3 hours." He sounds exhausted but focused. "Malik sent me a video last night," he continues. "It's at 47,000 views now. What's happening to my kid?" Gloria sits up, heart pounding. "You're coming home early." "Caught an earlier transport. Mom, talk to me." She tells him everything. The lunch, Whitfield's humiliation, Mercer's suspension threat. Her voice cracks twice. On the other end, Anthony goes completely quiet, the kind of quiet that comes before thunder. "I'll be there by 10:30, he finally says. "Don't go anywhere." He hangs up. Gloria walks to Malik's room. He's already awake, staring at his phone like it betrayed him. "Your father called," she says softly. "He knows." Malik looks up. "He's landing in 3 hours. Something flickers behind Malik's eyes. Not quite hope, but not despair either. By 9 o'clock, Jason's video has 82,000 views. Local reporters start sharing it. Comment sections explode. "This is blatant discrimination. I went to this school. Whitfield did this to me in 2019. Where's the school board?" One comment reads, "School board member Carla Nguyen nearly spits out her coffee when she sees the clip. She immediately calls Superintendent Dr. Monica Reyes. Reyes is already watching, jaw clenched. "Get legal on the line," she says. "Get sicher. We're going to Riverside Heights now." At school, Mercer's phone will not stop buzzing. District office, angry parents, media requests, all before 9:30 a.m. She calls Whitfield. "Karen, do not come to campus today. Do not talk to anyone. Stay home." Whitfield's voice sounds shrill through the speaker. "Linda, this is spiraling. We need to control the story." "There is no story to control." Mercer snaps. "There's a video." Her polished professionalism finally cracks. "Just stay home. Don't speak to reporters. Don't post online. Don't contact students. Do you understand?" Whitfield sputters agreement, but the damage is moving faster than emails and phone calls. Screenshots, shares, duets, kids and parents stitching their own stories onto Malik's. The clip has become bigger than one cafeteria, bigger than one school, a mirror some adults don't want to face. Superintendent Reyes and board member Nguyen head toward Riverside Heights, legal counsel and HR director in tow, scrolling through comment threads as the numbers climb. Parents cluster outside the school gates, phones raised, murmurs sharpening into questions. Inside her office, Mercer straightens her blazer, trying to rehearse lines about policy and professionalism. None of them sound convincing, even to her. While she practices, the video keeps traveling across group chats, neighborhood forums, teacher circles. Every replay of Whitfield's voice, "This is a cafeteria, not the hood. chips away at the district's polished slogans about equity. Mercer stares at her buzzing phone, Whitfield's text messages piling up, and finally types the only response she can manage: "Just stay away." But the damage is already done. Colonel Anthony Johnson steps out of the cab in full Army dress blues. Not camo, not travel gear. Full ceremonial uniform. Rows of ribbons across his chest. Metal shining. Command energy in every line of his body. He's 45, 6'2". Shoulders built from carrying responsibility for thousands of soldiers. Skin darkened by desert heat. Eyes that stared down. Firefights and never blinked are locked in now. Malik opens the apartment door, sees his father, and just cracks. They cling to each other in the doorway, Anthony holding his son like he might vanish. 8 months apart, crash into one hug. "I'm sorry, Dad. I messed everything up." "Enough." Anthony eases back, framing Malik's face with both hands. "You did nothing wrong. You understand me?" "Nothing." Malik nods, tears streaming messy tracks. Gloria appears from the hallway. Anthony pulls her into a tight hug, too. Brief, fierce. "Where's the school, Mom?" "Maybe we should wait." "Where is the school?" Anthony asks. She tells him, 4 blocks away. Anthony smooths his uniform, straightens his tie, checks his reflection in the dark TV screen. Every crease is sharp, every ribbon aligned perfectly. This isn't just a dad stomping into a building angry. This is a commanding officer walking into a battle. "Let's move!" They head out together. All 3 step into the chilly November light. The neighborhood feels hushed, like it knows something's coming. Riverside Heights middle rises ahead of them. At 10:45 a.m., Colonel Anthony Johnson strides through the front doors in full dress uniform. The reaction is instant. Kids in the hallway freeze. Conversations cut off mid-word. "Is that a soldier?" whisper one. "In full dress. Look at all those ribbons." Another says, "That's Malik's dad." "Oh wow, that's the Fort Lincoln commander." Recognition spreads fast. Nearly 40% of Riverside Heights students are military kids. They know rank. They know what those medals cost. Sarah Kim, a Navy captain's daughter, gasps. "My dad talks about him all the time," she breathes. The front office secretary pops up from her chair automatically when Anthony approaches, muscle memory from dealing with officers. "Sir, how can I help you?" "Colonel Anthony Johnson, United States Army. I need to see Principal Mercer immediately." "Sir, she's in her office, but—" "Right now," he repeats, not yelling, not rude, just pure authority. The secretary's hand shakes a little as she lifts the phone. Jason spots Malik and his dad from down the hall, nearly drops his backpack. He fumbles for his phone, starts recording, blasts a message to the school group chat. Malik's dad just rolled in, full uniform. Within half a minute, kids suddenly need the bathroom, the water fountain, anything that lands them in that hallway. Dr. Mercer steps out of her office. She clocks the uniform, the rows of commendations, the rigid posture. Her polished expression slips a fraction. "Mr. Johnson, I know you're upset, but it's Colonel Johnson," he answers. His voice carries. Not loud, but impossible to ignore. United States Army, 22 years of service, commanding officer at Fort Lincoln. "And yes, I'm upset that my son was suspended after being targeted because of his race." The color drains from Mercer's face. "Colonel, this isn't the appropriate place." "Then let's use your office," he says. He doesn't wait for permission. Anthony moves toward the doorway, like he owns the space. Gloria and Malik are right behind him. Mercer has no real choice except to follow. The office door shuts, but glass walls mean half the hallway can see everything. Anthony stays on his feet. Mercer sits, but the power dynamic has flipped. "I've watched the video," he begins. 80+ thousand people have now heard your staff member tell my son his food doesn't belong here, that it's inappropriate, that it stinks. Then you punished him for being humiliated." His words are clipped, precise. Mercer tries to regain ground. "Colonel Johnson, emotions are high, but Ms. Whitfield used professional discretion." "You mean discretion to discriminate?" Anthony sets a small notebook on the desk. Malik's documentation of 5 separate incidents. Nia Jackson, September 15th, bonnet confiscated. Diego Morales, October 3rd, tamales trashed. Tiana Thomas, October 10th, jollof rice thrown out. Arjun Patel, September 28th, curry rejected. All students of color, all cultural foods. Emma's lasagna, Connor's gyros untouched. Mercer opens her mouth, closes it. That's not discretion, Colonel continues. That's a pattern. That's a title sign issue. He leans in slightly. And you backed it by tossing out 7 different complaints in 3 months. Colonel, you can't just... I command thousands of troops and oversee Fort Lincoln's operations, including support for Arlington Cemetery, he says calmly. His voice drops, more dangerous for being soft, and I will not stand by while my kid is punished for bringing fried chicken to school. A knock interrupts. The door opens before Mercer answers. Superintendent Dr. Monica Reyes steps in, Latina mid-50s authority wrapped around her like a coat. Behind her, the district's lawyer and HR director file in. Mercer lurches to her feet. Superintendent Reyes, I didn't know you were... No, you didn't. Reyes cuts in. You were too busy defending bias to call me. She turns to Anthony, offers her hand. Colonel Johnson, I'm Monica Reyes, district superintendent. I owe you and your family a serious apology. Anthony shakes her hand once, firm. Superintendent. Reyes pivots to Mercer. Where is Ms. Whitfield? I instructed her to remain home, Mercer says weakly. You told an employee under fire to hide, Reyes replies, eyes hardening. Call her. Tell her she has 20 minutes to report here, or she's fired for insubordination. Mercer fumbles for the phone with trembling fingers. Make the call, Dr. Mercer. Reyes faces Anthony and Malik. I've been reviewing records all morning, she says. 7 formal complaints denied. At least 15 informal concerns never logged. A clear pattern of students of color being targeted. She looks at Malik. You pulled this together. That's impressive. Malik's voice is quiet. My history teacher gave me the notebook. Said proof matters. Mr. Lewis. Reyes nods once. He's right. 23 minutes later, the door opens again. Ms. Karen Whitfield steps inside, stops cold. She takes in Anthony's uniform, Reyes, the attorney, HR, Malik watching her. The blood drains from her face. Have a seat, Ms. Whitfield, Reyes says. No room for argument in her tone. Whitfield sits, hands twisted together. Superintendent, I'm glad you're here. Whitfield starts. There's been a huge misunderstanding. There is no misunderstanding, the attorney says, sliding a folder open. Ms. Whitfield, you're being placed on immediate paid leave while we investigate possible civil rights violations under Title VI. Whitfield's jaw drops. Violations? I was just maintaining standards. That's my job, keeping things appropriate for everyone. There are no such standards, Reyes says sharply. We combed every policy. There is no approved cultural cohesion program, no district rule about strong smells, no ban on bonnets or head wraps. You invented a system that consistently targeted students of color. That isn't classroom management. That's prejudice. Whitfield swings toward Mercer, desperate. Linda, tell them you signed off. Mercer cannot meet her eyes. Reyes looks between them. Dr. Mercer, you're also on administrative leave. You upheld this pattern by ignoring families, which is a profound failure of leadership. You can't. I've led for 20 years, Mercer protests. And you use that time to protect discrimination, Reyes answers. Security will escort you off campus shortly. Whitfield panics, trying to salvage something. She turns to Anthony. You're military. You know chain of command, following orders. This is political. Anthony's reply is ice. I know integrity, something you tossed aside. Whitfield flails. Who even are all of you to... Another knock interrupts. A tall black man in a tailored suit steps in. Early 50s. Presence unmistakable. It's the mayor of Washington, D.C., Mayor Derek Cole. Everyone rises automatically. Whitfield goes sheet white. Cole scans the room, then locks eyes with Anthony. There's recognition there. Derek, welcome home, he says, crossing the room. They clasp hands like men who've been through things together. Tony. Anthony nods back. Malik blinks. Dad. The mayor turns to Malik, face softening. Last time I saw you, kid, you were barely up to my waist. He chuckles. I don't remember. Anthony rests a hand on Malik's shoulder. Malik, this is Mayor Derek Cole, your mom's older brother. Your uncle. The room goes hushed. Malik's world tilts sideways. My uncle. I have a mayor for an uncle? Yeah, Cole says quietly. Your mother and I drifted apart near the end of her illness. That's on me. But I'm here now. He faces Whitfield, voice tightening. My sister, Renee Johnson, died 3 years ago. She taught high school. She believed every child deserved respect. He points toward Malik. Those recipes you trashed, those were hers, passed down. Her handwriting, her memories, her tradition. You didn't just toss lunch, Ms. Whitfield. You disrespected my sister's legacy. Whitfield's lips tremble, but nothing comes out. Cole turns to Reyes. Superintendent, I assume this inquiry will be thorough. Completely, Mayor Cole, she replies. Good. I'll be watching myself. He kneels slightly so he's eye level with Malik. Your mom would be proud of you, he says, for speaking up, for writing everything down, for not letting this slide. Malik's eyes blur. Uncle Derek, I had no idea. I've been mayor 2 years, Cole admits. Should have shown up sooner. That's my failure, but I'm here now, and this ends today. Anthony exhales slowly beside them. Called Derek from the flight, he explains, because this isn't only about our family, it's about civil rights. Cole nods. If Malik weren't my nephew, this would still be unacceptable. That's why reforms are coming. Oversight, outside investigations, new channels for students. Reyes adds, Fort Lincoln leadership is concerned too. 40% of your kids are from the base. They're asking whether this campus still deserves their trust. That lands like a weight. Losing military families means losing funding and reputation. Whitfield tries one last angle. This is overblown. It was just food, just school guidelines. Malik's voice cuts in, steadier now. You threw away my mom's container, called my food inappropriate, got me suspended for being embarrassed. He meets her eyes head on. What policy is that? Whitfield has no answer. Security quietly steps into the doorway. Reyes nods. Ms. Whitfield, Dr. Mercer, you'll be escorted out now. As they're led through the hall, students step aside, phones already raised. Whitfield angles her face away, but cameras catch everything. Kids calling out, You trashed my cousin's food too. You snatched my bonnet. Another voice yells. Whitfield keeps walking, no defense left. Outside, news vans cluster at the curb. Reyes invited them. No more secrecy. On the front steps, Mayor Cole faces microphones, Anthony beside him, Malik in front. Today, Riverside Heights failed one of its own, Cole says. Malik Johnson documented repeated targeted discrimination. That took courage. We are rolling out immediate changes. A reporter shouts, Mayor, is Malik your nephew? Yes, Cole answers, but this isn't about family favoritism. It's about civil rights. Malik happened to have relatives who could amplify his story. He never should have needed that. Another reporter calls, Colonel Johnson, what's your message? Anthony steps up, adjusting his jacket slightly. I've served my country for 22 years, seen combat, he says. I never thought my son would face this kind of bias in an American classroom. His voice wavers, but he steadies it. I'm proud of him. He gathered facts. He told the truth. He stood firm. Reporters wave Malik forward. He steps up, nervous but determined. I just wanted to eat the lunch I made for my dad, he says simply. No kid should be scared to be themselves at school. Students scattered outside start clapping, some cheering. Jason holds a hastily made sign. All cultures, all foods. Others prop their phones up, streaming, preserving this moment. The story has left the building permanently now. That evening, the Johnson apartment smells like comfort. Gloria stands at the stove, apron on, frying chicken in her cast-iron skillet. Mac and cheese bubbles in a casserole dish. Collard greens simmer low with smoked turkey legs. The table is set for 4. Gloria, Malik, Major Anthony Johnson, and Mayor Derek Cole. Derek arrived earlier carrying old photo albums, pictures of Renee before chemo, laughing in classrooms, holding baby Malik. This smells better than anything I've had in months, D. Derek jokes, using her old nickname. Don't you butter me up, Derek Cole, Gloria warns, waving a wooden spoon. You went missing too long. I know, he says quietly. After Renee died, seeing Malik hurt, he looked too much like her. Anthony squeezes Derek's shoulder. You're here now. That's what counts. They sit, bow their heads while Gloria says grace. Plates fill quickly. Malik bites into the chicken and stops, eyes closing. This tastes exactly like Mom's. The table goes still. Everyone pulled into the same memory. Derek flips open an album, taps a photo. Renee, mid-20s, teacher badge around her neck. Your mom loved her students fiercely, he says. She believed school should be the safest place a kid ever walks into. He glances at Malik. She got suspended once herself. Malik's head snaps up. Mom, suspended. 8th grade, Derek says, smiling. She wore traditional African dress to school. Principal called it disruptive, so she wore one every day for a month. They finally rewrote the dress code. Anthony laughs, shaking his head. She never mentioned that part, he says. She was saving it for you. Gloria murmurs. Wanted you old enough to understand what standing up costs and what it changes. Malik studies the photo, sees his own stubbornness in his mother's eyes. I think I get it now, he whispers. Gloria reaches over, squeezes his hand. She'd be bursting with pride, baby. They eat and reminisce. Renee's terrible karaoke nights, her fierce parent-teacher conferences, the way she'd show up with food whenever someone was struggling. For the first time in 3 years, remembering doesn't feel like drowning. It feels like building a bridge back to her, brick by brick. After dinner, Derek invites Malik out onto the small balcony. City lights blink between buildings. That notebook you kept, Derek says, that was sharp work, like something my paralegals put together. Ever think about law? Malik shrugs. I really like robotics, coding, building stuff. You can do both, Derek replies. Justice needs people who understand systems and tech. What you did, gathering evidence, connecting dots, naming a pattern, that's what good lawyers do. Malik nods slowly. Mr. Lewis said proof matters more than yelling, he says. He's right, and he's getting tenure. Derek adds, I made a few calls. Teachers who take risks for kids should have job security. For real? Malik asks. For real, Derek answers. That's happening. Malik looks out over the street, families moving behind lit windows. Uncle Derek, what happens to Ms. Whitfield now? Derek exhales. The investigation will run about 6 weeks. When they confirm the pattern, and they will, she'll be fired. Might face civil suits from families she harmed. Will she go to prison? Malik asks. Probably not, Derek says honestly. Most discrimination cases like this are civil, not criminal, unless there's violence or threats. But she'll lose her job. Her license may be pulled. She won't be in classrooms again. That matters. Malik thinks about that. Is that enough? He asks. I don't know, Derek admits. Justice is messy. Punishment doesn't automatically heal anything, but stopping the harm counts. He pauses. She did send a letter through her lawyer asking if she could apologize face to face. Malik stiffens. I don't want to see her. You don't have to, Derek says. That choice is yours, not hers. But if someday you change your mind, the option is on the table for you. Monday morning, Malik walks back into Riverside Heights. His suspension was erased over the weekend by emergency order. Still, Sunday night, Gloria walked him to the doors, hugged him like armor. You can handle this, she whispered. Now, as he steps inside, a roar of clapping hits him. Students line both sides of the hallway, cheering. Signs everywhere. Welcome back, Malik. Justice won. We see you. Jason barrels forward, nearly tackling him in a hug. Dude, you're officially a legend. He laughs. Nia, Terrence, Diego, Tiana, Arjun, every kid Whitfield targeted circle around. They high-five, bump fists, form a wall of support. At morning assembly, there's a new face at the podium. Malik's history teacher, Mr. Lewis, now interim principal, adjusts the microphone slowly. Good morning, Riverside Heights, he says. Today marks a reset. I'm honored to serve as acting principal. His voice mixes warmth and steel. We're rolling out immediate changes. He clicks to the first slide. Number 1, Cultural Celebration Initiative. We are not merely tolerating culture. We're honoring it. Clothing, hair, food. Bring your whole self. The room erupts in cheers. A new reporting system for bias, anonymous, independently reviewed, monthly summaries shared with families. You will be heard. More applause. Slide 3. Mandatory anti-bias and equity training for every adult in this building, led by outside experts, refreshed every quarter. No opt-outs. Lewis's eyes find Malik in the crowd. These changes exist because one student refused silence, because he gathered receipts instead of just swallowing shame. That's bravery. The applause is thunder now. Lunchtime, Malik returns to his usual window table. He sets down his mom's teal container, clean, uncracked, handled with reverence. Pops it open, fried chicken, mac and cheese, collards. The same meal that started everything. Lewis walks through the cafeteria, stops beside him. "That smells incredible, Malik," he says. "Thank you, Dr. Lewis," Malik replies, using his new title on purpose. "Want some?" Lewis's smile is wide. "I'd be honored," Malik shares. Kids watch, cameras rolling, but this time the moment feels like healing instead of harm. Around them, other students unpack foods they've always hidden. Tamales, jollof, curry, dumplings, injera, plantains, kimchi, biryani. The cafeteria turns into a live-action culture festival. One white student eyes her plain turkey sandwich. "This is depressing," she jokes. "Can somebody's grandma adopt me for lunch?" Laughter ripples. Kesha grins. "My grandma's hosting a cooking night at the community center. Y'all better show up hungry." Bridges are being built in real time over shared plates and recipes. 2 weeks slide by. The investigation wraps, findings released publicly for once. Ms. Whitfield, 23 documented incidents in 4 years, all disproportionately impacting students of color, terminated. Teaching license under review by the state. Several families file civil suits. Dr. Mercer, pushed into early retirement instead of outright firing, loses her bonus, banned from future administrative positions in the district. Both are ordered into extensive restorative justice training, 200 hours each, working with organizations they once dismissed. Whitfield writes a letter delivered through her attorney. Malik stares at the envelope for 3 days before opening it. "Malik, I can't undo what I did. I was wrong about you, about your food, about what professional means. You deserved better. I have a lot to unlearn. I hope one day I can apologize in person. I don't expect forgiveness, but I want you to know I'm trying. You were braver at 14 than I've been my whole career. KW. Malik reads it twice, folds it carefully, tucks it in a drawer. He doesn't answer. Maybe someday, maybe never. That's his decision now, his power. 3 Sundays later, the Johnsons and Coles stand beneath an old oak at Greenview Cemetery. Renee's headstone is simple, elegant. Anthony, Gloria, Malik, and Derek form a loose circle. Malik sets a small plate on the grave. Fried chicken, mac and cheese, collards. The same meal remade. "We did it, Mom," he says softly. "We finished the fight, just like you would have." Wind rustles the oak leaves like distant applause. Anthony drapes an arm across Malik's shoulders. "Your mom always said cooking was love you could taste," he murmurs. "And speaking up was love you could show," Derek adds. They stand there together, a family that broke, then rebuilt stronger at the fracture points. Malik studies the name etched in stone. Renee Johnson, teacher, mother, fighter. He finally understands. She never really left. She's in every recipe, every notebook page, every kid who refuses to quietly accept disrespect. She's in him. And right now, standing here, he feels that's enough. 6 months later, Riverside Heights looks pretty much the same outside. Same brick walls, same faded mascot mural. Inside, though, the pulse has changed. Lunchtime is loud and bright. The cafeteria hums with languages and spices from everywhere. No one is scared to open a container anymore. Malik sits with his crew, today unveiling jerk chicken, Gloria's latest project, learned from Kesha's grandma. The smell alone turns heads happily. This story, of course, was never just about food. It's about dignity, Yerk's culture. The tiny daily cuts that add up at schools, offices, churches, everywhere in America. The National Education Association reports that students of color are about 3.5 times more likely to be disciplined for the same behaviors as white peers. 3.5 times. That's not random. That's systemic. But this is also a story about power, about what happens when one kid keeps receipts and friends refuse to look away. Malik didn't hold institutional power. He was 14 black, grieving a mom with his dad on another continent. But he had integrity. He had witnesses. A teacher slid him a notebook. That was enough to spark change. Jason didn't stay quiet either. When your friend is targeted, your voice matters. Your camera matters. Your willingness to make noise matters. Sometimes the people with power are closer than you think. Mayor Cole was Malik's uncle. But here's the thing. This would have been wrong, even if they were strangers. Justice shouldn't require a mayor and a colonel on standby. It shouldn't depend on a video going viral. Fair treatment should be the floor, not some rare miracle. After Malik's story spread, dozens of other schools in the region reported similar complaints. Investigations kicked off. The Cultural Celebration Initiative moved from one building to district-wide policy. And it doesn't stop at school walls. Workplaces wrestle with the same patterns every day. A recent survey found more than 60% of employees from marginalized backgrounds feel forced to code switch at work, masking language, food, clothes, hair, just to fit in. From lunches called smelly in break rooms to braids labeled unprofessional, these microaggressions pile up. Malik's lunch wasn't just lunch, it was heritage, grief, love. His first independent step into his mother's world. When Whitfield dumped it, she tried to dump all of that. But here's what she couldn't touch. Malik's voice, his record of events, his refusal to shrink. Riverside Heights now has a different heartbeat. Kids show up in cultural dress on purpose. The cafeteria menu rotates through global dishes. Malik still cooks Renee's recipes, still carries her memory into every kitchen. He also co-chairs the Student Equity Council. His robotics team just won regionals. He mentors younger kids on how to document discrimination safely. He's thinking maybe engineering first, then law, maybe both. If this story hits you in the chest, there are things you can do. Step 1. Document. When something feels wrong, write it down. Save emails, note dates and names, screenshots, voice memos, patterns. Malik's spiral notebook shifted an entire district. Step 2. Speak up. Be someone's Jason. If you witness injustice, don't just whisper about it later. Record, report, share. Call school boards, HR, local officials. Your voice applies pressure. Step 3. Support. When a kid says, "This happened to me," believe them. Investigate. Don't dismiss or minimize. Step 4. Look inward, then outward. Ask yourself what you consider normal or appropriate and why. Who taught you that? Whose culture feels default in your space? Step 5. Vote and advocate. Back leaders who prioritize equity work, who fund counselors and bias training instead of just more security cameras. Push for transparency and accountability wherever you live, work, or worship. Share stories like Malik's. These narratives don't spread on their own. They move because people decide silence isn't acceptable. Share this video. Email it to a principal. Tag your school district. Tag your company's DEI office. Power isn't scared of quiet. It's scared of receipts, of witnesses, of one kid with a notebook and a camera nearby. Be that witness. Be someone's Jason, someone's Mr. Lewis, someone's Gloria, someone's Anthony, someone's Derek. And if you see yourself in Malik, if you're the one being targeted, hold on. Keep standing. People are paying attention now. Your story matters. Your culture matters. Your food, clothes, music, language, all of it matters. Don't let anyone convince you it doesn't belong. Now I want to hear from you. Have you lived through something like this at school, at work, on the street? Have you seen it happen to someone else and didn't know what to do? What would you do differently now? Drop your story in the comments. Let's build a community of record keepers, of loud friends, of people who won't look away. If this story resonated, tap like, send it to someone who needs it, and hit subscribe for more real, unfiltered stories about justice, courage, and pushing back. Every share is a statement. Every comment is solidarity. Every new voice makes it harder for injustice to hide. Stand with Malik. Stand for dignity. Stand for change. Thanks for watching us. Culture is not extra, it's who we are. If you're in your late 60s or older, you may remember when certain people were told their very presence was too much. In Malik's story, it isn't just fried chicken tossed in the trash. It's his mother's handwriting on recipe cards, his grandmother's careful teaching, his hope of welcoming his father home from war. Many of you have seen this pattern before, people in power calling someone else's culture inappropriate while treating their own as normal and respectable. The lesson is simple and painful. When we allow anyone's food, hair, or heritage to be labeled unprofessional, we are really saying, you don't belong. Quiet evidence can shake loud injustice. Those of us with gray hair know shouting rarely changes a system, but proof can. Malik's little notebook, Jason's cell phone video, and one brave teacher's advice were small things that carried big weight. You've seen that before too. Handwritten notes in church basements, copies of complaints, neighbors willing to sign their names. The lesson here is that receipts matter. Writing it down, saving the email, pressing record can turn one child's humiliation into a district-wide reckoning. The legacy we leave our grandchildren. Finally, Malik's story asks a hard question of every grandparent. What kind of lunchroom will your grandchildren walk into? One where they hide who they are, or one where tamales, jollof, curry, and fried chicken all share the same table? Many of you marched, voted, and prayed for a more just America. The lesson here is that your work is not over. By supporting kids who speak up, backing honest teachers, and demanding fair policies, you help make sure the next generation inherits more dignity than you did. Friends, after hearing Malik's story, I'd love to know what speaks to your heart the most. Have you ever seen someone's food, accent, hair, or clothing dismissed as not appropriate the way Malik's lunch was? And how did you respond then? And how might you respond now after hearing this? Please share your experiences and wisdom in the comments so younger viewers can learn from you. And if this message resonates, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and share it so more families can find strength, courage, and hope.